Guys, it's finally happened.
You fell asleep during an Enterprise episode.
Somebody died.
Not just that, we had 2 episodes. Technically 2 deaths.
Whoa.
Now, admittedly, the first one was someone we literally never saw, because just some random Suliban sphere ship blows up that we see. And of course, in the second episode, it happens off camera, but a named known character, a guest character, but still.
They might come back like Daniels. We don't know.
Definitively got probably kerploded in an atmosphere.
Nope, he got beamed away last second. Everything's fine.
You talking about the end of the second episode?
I am.
Oh, was that the first episode?
Second
one.
Dude, they were too much alike. Like, honestly, I feel like I've got it.
The episodes are too much alike?
Well, the beginning of the episodes are too much
Yeah,
alike.
but then they go to completely different places. But what are the episodes? And who the fuck are we? What the fuck is going on?
Weird way to start this episode.
Yeah, really. A bit strange. But...
Yeah, well, Welcome to episode 337
Woo!
of A Star to Steer Her By, your favorite Star Trek podcast being recorded on Martin Luther King Day 2024.
Is any of that necessary?
Because it's a way to say that we're their favorite without also saying that it's...
I always say that we're our favorite.
No. But the point is, he's saying we're your favorite Star Trek podcast that is recording on this specific date.
Oh.
We don't know when others are.
Yeah, and if they don't say,
okay, this is all
win.
stupid. Shut up. This is stupid already.
Order on the podcast.
Someone get that away from me.
Jake has a gavel for reasons.
No, my gavel.
No, you're just as bad to have it, Caitlin.
It's a tit gavel.
Titful? Anyway.
Straight down the shirt.
This is Chris, and joining me today are...
Oh dear, this is Ames.
Caitlin.
Jake.
The gavel. I'm in Caitlin's tits. In it. Governor.
Oi.
Wowzers. And today's episodes are Future Tense and Canamar. It was Canamar, right?
Don't think so.
Canamar.
I think it was Canamar.
Canamar? Jesus.
Oh, wow!
Wow, and I'm the one that can't be trusted with the gavel?
I said she's just as
it's
bad
all
to
warm
have
now.
Oh, wow. Well, at least it wasn't wet.
Yes, Canamar sounds right. Jiminy fuckmas.
If you get it wet, it doesn't work anymore, like magnets.
Like magnets!
Okay, now I keep people hearing you referencing that.
Fucking
What?
Donald Trump.
Oh, it was a Trump line. Okay.
Trump said moron.
Well, yes, but I don't remember exactly what... Oh, so quickly, he was saying that on some... Was it on a naval base or somewhere, some government thing, I think they had installed elevators that worked with magnets instead of whatever they usually work with, hydraulics. I don't know how elevators
Cables.
work. Sure. And he's like, and I told them, what's going to happen is, all I know is about magnets is if you get them wet, they don't work anymore.
No, the line is, you take a glass of water and you drop it
on the magnets.
You end up with a broken glass of water. But then I guess the idea is the wet magnets won't work
No.
anymore.
He doesn't say you get a broken glass of water. He says if you drop a glass of water on it, they don't work. But what actually happens, as Seth Meyers said, is you get wet magnets and a broken glass. But the magnets will still work.
Insane Clown Posse officially understands magnets better than Trump. And by their own admission, they don't understand them.
Fair enough. I was just going to say, no, fucking magnets, how do they work?
Jesus fucking Christmas. I hate everything. Anyway, first up in Future Tense, we open on a flathead spaceship. Should have gone with the Phillips head, because this one's all fucked up. Enterprise pulls it aboard, even though their sensors are having trouble reading anything inside. They crack her open, and instead of gobs and gobs of death, like radiation or poison or who knows, because they couldn't scan inside, they find a human corpse.
Reed's first impulse is to shoot it.
Yes. They find a human corpse, and they're like, oh fuck, this might be Zephram Cochrane. And those of us who watched TOS have gone, nah, he's off getting sucked off by a cloud.
Hot.
So they bring the body to sickbay to look it over, and Reed and Malcolm.
Sickbay?
I mean,
Cargo bay. Oh, the
The
body.
body, yeah, sorry. The body's in the sick bay, yes. The ship's in the cargo bay, and Reed and Trip are looking it over, and a bunch of other people. And they eventually work out it's probably from the future because all the tech seems weird. And the body has chromosomes it shouldn't, like Vulcan and a bunch of others.
But a Vulcan would never willingly fuck a human.
Ain't met Sarek.
I think it was just T'Pol's way of saying, Archer, never hit on me again, please.
Yeah, pretty much. Meanwhile, Reed and Tucker work out that the ship is actually a TARDIS because it's bigger on the inside for no reason that ever actually matters to the story.
Nothing matters to the story.
Yeah.
That's the point of this episode, where the points don't matter.
Yeah, the Suliban show up trying to claim the ship. The not Tellarites,
Tholians.
Tholians show up trying to
Oh,
claim
nice
the
to
ship.
see them.
John decides to look it up in Daniel's database, which why haven't they destroyed the database?
Why haven't they used
Or
the
the
database
ship,
all the time?
Or, yeah, I just... And T'Pol's like, hey, John, maybe we should blow up this fucking dangerous artifact that you believe is from the future. And even if I don't believe it's from the future, I sure believe it's dangerous. And Archer's like, I'm an idiot.
It was human-like. That was the pilot. Therefore, I love him.
And eventually they just say, fuck it, let's blow up the ship after all. But the bomb doesn't work. But don't worry, Trip got the
Black box?
the distress call for
the
it
distress
working.
call.
You know, whoever it is that sent it from the future went, in 1,000 years, I'll get right on it. And pull it away at the last second, because for them, time doesn't matter. And, yeah, that's the episode.
And overall, nothing happened.
Well, I mean, so it's really
True.
It's like it's a MacGuffin. The ship's a
Yeah.
MacGuffin. They're doing a Maltese Falcon deal with it. Right?
Ah.
Are they?
Yeah.
I know nothing about the Maltese Falcon.
Oh yeah, I guess
Explain.
everybody is coming
Yeah,
after the Maltese
yeah. So they
Falcon,
have
aren't
this
they?
thing that everybody wants, and like the fact that it's a ship doesn't really matter. It's
Right,
just
okay.
it's just the point of the episode is all these different factions are
Two factions.
well, two.
It's the tennis balls versus the shuttlecocks. Go shuttlecocks!
The difference is the Maltese Falcon is really good, and this is fine at best.
It's a
Well,
great Enterprise episode.
To be fair,
Ah.
as you know, as well you know, the Maltese Falcon that we all know and celebrate today was the third iteration of that film. So actually,
I didn't know that.
well, I know I meant him,
Oh,
Chris,
Chris.
specifically.
That's my line that she's stealing. Yes.
Good, get it,
I'm not
Caitlin.
really stealing
Run
your
away
line,
with it.
I'm just using a fact. That said, you know, this episode may have been better than the first two iterations of the film, and we'll never know because nobody watches them.
I own them. They came with the DVD of the new one.
Have you watched them?
Not yet.
Then I
I
rest
need
my
to.
case.
The second one's actually like a comedy version, apparently.
He's never gonna watch them. Well, all right, he might. I don't know.
but-
Anyway,
Yeah.
but yes, this was a great episode of Enterprise, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's the ship is cool. It does feel very blue ballsy
Mm-hmm.
in that there is no relevance of the ship. It's
None
just,
whatsoever.
No. We do these like little kind of like cause and effect, like repeating a scene.
Oh, right. I forgot
Getting
about the
stuck in a 30
loop.
second time loop,
Yeah.
which is interesting. Like when that first happened, I thought there was something wrong with our episode.
Chris
I
said
was like,
the
did
exact
we-
same thing.
Did we sit on the remote by accident? Oh crap! And there's like, oh no, this is intentional.
Well,
but
what's-
it's not. It doesn't
they
seem
don't
relevant.
do enough with it. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing too. It's like it doesn't really seem to have any actual consequences. It just happens.
Like what
It's
if
to remind you that time.
like what if okay, here's an idea.
Do it.
What if instead of whatever the fuck happened, like the Suliban board the ship, say, and they kill Reed, and then
Oh, and then the time flips.
and then Tucker
like
and,
in Galaxy
and, like,
Quest.
I was waiting to say that.
panics
Yeah.
and opens the panel.
Yeah.
And it warps them back to right before
Yeah.
the Suliban beamed in, and Tucker is like, I feel like I'm supposed to do something, and then he turns around and he just swings a punch in midair, and as he's
and
swinging
hits Tony
it,
Shalhoub.
the Suliban beam in, and it makes contact.
I feel like we bring up Galaxy Quest a lot in relation to Enterprise. Galaxy Quest really is just the best version of Enterprise.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the best version of a lot of Trek, to be entirely
But-
fair.
True, but especially... But what's funny, too, doubly funny about the loop, I thought our app was fucked up because the Paramount Plus app is just
Oh, garbage.
fucking awful. But I especially thought it happened because I had actually rewound.
Ah.
Because Caitlin hadn't seen the weird camera pullback they did. Did you notice that?
I didn't notice
When
that.
they first pull off the panel, for some reason, the director thought, let's make this look more dynamic. So when they pulled back the panel, he also pulled back the camera?
Oh.
It looks really
interesting, but
stupid. But
I
Because there's nothing else going on. You have to make it visually interesting somehow.
But what's weird is, like, he didn't move at quite the same pace as them, so it wound up with this weird kind of... You know that trick they do where they, like, move the camera in one direction...
And zoom out at the same time.
It kind of ended up having that effect, so rather than looking dynamic, it just looked weird. Like, they didn't time it right to look good. But
that was right before or around the time that they did the time?
It was, like, right before they did the jump.
Okay.
So I rewound so Caitlin could see it. And then it did the jump, and I thought it had just repeated the backup I did, which is a weird-sounding glitch. But I've seen dumber from this app, so...
I was like, oh, you like to rewind at this point in the episode.
Honestly, I fucking believe it. It's done some incredibly moronic fucking things.
It's like when you buy a product on Amazon and then it forever advertises similar products.
Yeah, it's like, even if you bought it, it's like, why would I want another one of these?
Yeah.
But,
sometimes you need more than one of them.
also, later on, when he's like, they realize they're getting in this loop and they're trying to do
that bomb thing.
Yeah, it's like, hey, John, here's an idea. You know this radiation's just in this room. Take the bomb outside, you stupid fuck.
They had to put the bomb in the ship, though.
Yeah, but you get the core out, because they just needed the core or whatever.
True.
Get that out, then go in.
Well,
do as much as you can away from the radiation.
It didn't matter anyway.
True, it didn't.
Because the Tholians stole it regardless.
I did love that, because once they they get this bomb ready to go, Malcolm's got his finger on the button because he always fucking does because he's Malcolm. And they press it and nothing happens. I'm like, oh, this thing that you guys planned and tried so hard and did like 3 different times.
Speaking of blue balls.
Didn't work.
And
that rarely happens.
Ames is laughing in your face, Enterprise.
Speaking again of blue balls, the corpse.
Did he have balls?
No, but the corpse was clearly not a prop.
Oh, yes.
It was a guy in makeup.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, okay, they wouldn't bother doing this unless he was going to wake up at some point. Never mind.
Good.
Could have been a prop.
Good for that guy.
Here's the thing. Maybe they did that, so you'd think that. Maybe they are clever.
Well, especially at one point, because no, not good for that guy. At one point, his lip twitched.
Oh no, bad guy.
I mean, yeah, if you can get an actor that can be still enough, it's probably a lot cheaper to make up an actor than it is to build a realistic corpse.
Well, except the problem is it's not realistic in my mind. Because he's supposed to have been clearly, like, dead and decaying for a while.
I mean,
his ribs were out and stuff.
He came back in time. How long had it been?
But yeah, but like, the body was very decayed. But, like, he hadn't become, like...
He's half Vulcan.
Yeah, I don't know. He's still...
They continue living after death.
That's the new magic thing the Vulcans do now.
Yeah,
they continue to live.
Quiver.
I don't think he's half. I think he's like very slightly Vulcan.
Listen.
Yeah, this guy's entire ancestry is just people fucking across species.
Well, honestly, for all we know, this could be a descendant of Spock.
They say he's from 900 years in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's long enough that the melting pot has melted fair amount.
I'm just saying, he looked like a living person in makeup, not a corpse.
Fair. Yeah. They could have done better with that. I mean, would it be better if he were paper mache, or would that be really distracting, though? Because we've done that before, and it's been bad.
Honestly...
I don't think he looked that bad, man.
Honestly, I was, again, just so busy waiting for him to open his eyes that I found that more distracting than a bad prop would have. I would have been like, yep, bad prop, seen this before.
I wonder if in the future... Because, you know, obviously in Star Trek, they're having actors that are present-day human beings. But in the future, I wonder if, like, distinctive human features are going to continue to kind of coalesce, and there will just be a generic human look.
Like, I mean, in the real world? Or?
Yeah, well, in the real world, but yeah, so, like, is it realistic that we would still have distinct white people and black people and Asian people 900 years from now? Or would we just have humans?
Probably there will always be racists.
That's true.
Yeah, in theory, if we were fucking one another more, like, yeah, I think eventually you would probably wind up with kind of a more
homogenous
look. Yeah. But I, as far as just, like, bone structure, though, that still might vary, because that seems to just happen.
But I also just think that, like a lot of these features kind of, I'm not a biologist, I don't know, but my assumption has been that they evolved because of, like, geographic isolation. Like, you know, humans came out of, you know, Africa and sort of the Middle East and that area, and just sort of branched out, and then didn't really connect with each other after the ice ages because they were just like, oh, it's harder to get around.
Yeah.
So like you have people that went to Asia that developed those features. You have people that went to Northern Europe, developed those features. You have people that, you know, crossed the land bridge into North America. They have certain features, and like, and then you have like people that made it to Polynesia and Australia, and they have, you know, they well, I guess down there you have even like distinctive subspecies too, which are now extinct. But like the Florentis or whatever it is, the Hobbit people.
Oh, right, yeah. I mean,
The who now?
there's they've discovered fossils of humans that are, they call them hobbits because they're like 4 feet tall.
Oh wow.
Like the fully grown adults are like really
Oh wow.
short.
Who knew? I've never.
Yeah.
This is
yeah,
news
it's a
to
couple
me.
of years ago.
It's like Homo florentis, I think, is something like that.
The other thing too is like I feel like a lot of it obviously was adaptation over time.
Well, you're right. They were adapting to those particular environments.
And what we have now is, you know, with sort of modern building advancement in homes, like we don't really have we force stuff to adapt to us, not vice versa.
There's no selective pressure. So now like the only pressures left to evolve different features are going to be like sexual preference, right? And if over time, I figure just like that's going to diminish, right? As people become less racist and more willing to
eventually though
breed outside of their, you know, subgroup.
We're also, though, at some point, we are going to get to the point where the planet's going to be getting so fucking hot that we're all going to be forced to adapt to a one worldwide terrible ecosystem. And then we'll definitely all start to look alike.
Yes.
Corpses.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I don't know why I was thinking. Oh, I was just
You
thinking
bring
because
this
of like
because
the
of-
homogeneous
Yeah.
of the corpse.
Yeah, and the thing about that is, you know, T'Pol and Archer have this conversation that I found annoying about, like, oh yeah, if you know, our dead friend here has Vulcan DNA, does that mean, you know, maybe humans and Vulcans will get down to it at some point? And T'Pol's like, well, there's all these factors that I don't think Vulcans and humans are going to be compatible and blah blah blah. And really, it's for the audience to be like, they're talking about Spock.
Yep.
Eee! Splooge.
See, Trip should have been there to be like, at first, before he said there's more than just Vulcan, he could have been like, oh, maybe that feller your ancestor knew actually got a little busy on Earth, you know what I'm saying?
Get him, Mistral. I love that.
Mistral, I could not think of his name. But then, yeah, he's got like a bunch of other stuff floating around in there.
So, we encounter the Tholians.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. We haven't seen them in
Forever.
No, their voices are terrible.
Oh,
Well,
Yeah.
I read this on not Wikipedia, the Star
Memory
Trek
Alpha?
Memory Alpha about that. So like obviously we never heard the Tholian language in the Tholian web, and we haven't seen them since. So when they needed to synthesize, and we know that they're horrible monsters.
Yeah, they're cockroach-looking
Yeah.
things. And
They've got
So
6 gross
so,
spider
like,
legs, bro.
The creators had to figure, okay, what are these
we
things going
haven't
to
seen them
sound
yet,
like?
though.
I know, I looked it up.
And what they ended up finding was that the sound that Star Trek fans make when there's a conflict with canon is actually very close to the sound that they wanted to produce.
Nice, I love that.
So they just went to a Star Trek convention
went.
and just recorded some B-roll, and they were all set.
That is one thing I gotta give this show, for all its failings. It's digging up aliens we haven't used since, like, 'cause we basically never had Andorians since TOS. There was like that one Lal was thinking of being, and maybe a background one at some point. Oh, and one in TAS, God save us. We're eventually gonna see, they've mentioned them, but we will see Tellarites again,
Yep.
a few others.
Didn't the Orions come up? Am I nuts?
They've been mentioned a few times, we haven't seen them yet.
But the
Okay.
thing about and I've said this before, I said this when we talked about them, is that they're not fucking green!
Yes.
They're not fucking green because the Orions are not aliens. I mean, they are, but they're not. There's not a race of aliens, a species called the Orions. The Orions is the name of a criminal organization of many different species, including humans. Bilby, Bigsby, fucking whatever his name was. He's a fucking Orion.
And Chester.
The only reason why Star Trek, and this is Enterprise's fault because they're the ones that are going to fuck it up. The only reason Orions are green now is because there was the dancing Vina, who wasn't even Orion. It was just a fucking woman. It was a human woman who was dancing and painted green.
Well, here's the thing, they're not necessarily green, But there is definitely a distinct Orion species, because there were the Orions in TOS. Because that one Andorian was actually...
But we never saw what they looked like.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Also,
We could still go with Jake's theory. They're not actually the green people, but they are. There is an actual Orion species that started the Orion Syndicate.
See, I don't know if that's true though, because Orion is a whole ass constellation. There could be loads of places that would be considered part of, like, Orion.
Well, yeah, but the way they talk about them in TOS, they are a distinct... There is a race called the Orions.
We see them in TAS. And
We do?
They're not green. They're kind of a light... They're like
pink.
a blue-green.
Oh my god, that's right,
They're
we
pink
did.
like everything else in that fucking show.
Either way, so they do exist, but yes, you're right. The Orion Syndicate, technically...
I don't even buy it. I still think the Orion Syndicate was started by humans. I think this is a conspiracy. The human beings started the Orion Syndicate because it's, as Caitlin said, it's a human word. It's the English word for a particular constellation.
Or they just... or someone else shares a word and it's not talking about that constellation at all.
Yeah.
How often have we heard people have, like, parallel development and stuff? They might have that word.
But also, how often have we had natives of a planet call it, like, something 2, which was the name an Earth astronomer gave it? They don't think these things
That's
through.
true. Yeah. Yes, our glorious homeland. Valspar 6.
Well, the Cardassians have Cardassia 4.
But they come from Cardassia Prime.
Yeah, they...
But they call it Cardassia Prime.
But I wonder if they called it Cardassia, and then when they made it to space, they're like, there's other planets. Well, that one's Cardassia 1 and 2 and 3.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Based on what we know of them, and they're probably one of the few alien species we know a lot about.
Who, the Cardassians?
Yeah. The Cardassians don't strike me as the most imaginative people.
Maybe Cardassia is just their word for dirt.
Like ours. Yeah.
Like Earth is our word for dirt.
Yeah.
Cardassia just means dirt, so they call every planet
Dirt.
Dirt.
Dirt 1, Dirt 2.
Or planet.
Yeah, or just planet, yeah.
I mean, again, these are the people of the repetitive epic, so I could totally buy that.
And they're like, why do the Federation people call us the planetoids? Why do they call us dirt people? It's really offensive.
That's been the issue the whole time, because they've never peace could have been struck centuries ago.
And they never bothered to learn what the word Cardassia means.
You guys want to hear the early pitches for this episode?
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah, you do, because some of them we'll see hints
More
of
like
in
early
future.
bitches for this episode.
Yeah.
So an early pitch would have been that the ship that we find would be the USS Defiant from the TOS episode, The Tholian Web.
Huh.
Oh, so
But-
they worked in the Tholians.
Yeah, which is how the Tholians ended up in this episode. But they realized, but we don't want Archer learning things about the future because that'll be, add conflict to this show, and, who needs that?
Well, also, then they'd have to deal with knowledge of future technology and
Canon between Enterprise and TOS.
Yeah.
That would be impossible. So what they decided, they're writing this episode, and they come up with this whole little pod thing with the corpse in it, and they decided, someone from the future is going to come back for it from the 31st century. He's going to talk with Archer. They're going to talk about the time stuff some more, to help establish this whole time thing, because, we still have no idea what the fuck is going on. But Archer has decided that he is in it to win it for reasons. Idiot. So this guy comes back, takes the ship, and we learn that the dead passenger is him.
wow.
Wait, who's the dead passenger?
The guy who came back for it
Oh, okay.
is himself.
That was something you suggested could have been the case.
That is what I suggested, yes.
The only way that would have been better is if it was fucking Time Cop. What's his fucking
Braxton?
Oh, Captain Braxton.
Fucking poor ass Braxton.
Can't win.
He's like, wait a minute, this is my body? And then he sees scrawled on the edge of the ship, Janeway was here.
Janeway! I suggested, because he mentions people coming from the future to study the past. This is actually just another scheme by Rasmussen. He's just gone back further, or ahead less far in his case.
No, that's stupid.
Yeah, not as, more fun than this.
Yeah, this was just kind of, everything felt extraneous.
It was there.
There were, the details were all okay, this is an interesting ship. Are we going to do anything with it? No. Oh, this is an interesting time device. Are we going to do anything with it? It felt like Trip's, invisible hand again.
Yep.
And it doesn't pay off. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, they really should have done more with the time skipping.
Yeah.
Like that could have been very easily worked into the episode in a way that would have been cool and not stupid.
But also, John, destroy the fucking ship.
Oh, yeah.
Destroy
Don't
all
even open it, idiot.
of that shit. Well, they didn't know it was from the future at first.
It
so.
could have been radioactive.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah,
but
the other
since
thing,
they
too, is
opened
like,
it...
yeah, blowing up the ship is probably bad considering they know it has mysterious radiation emanating from it.
True. Throw it into a sun or a black hole.
Throw
Like,
it into Andorra's
Oh,
sun.
actually, you know what would have been a cool ending to this episode, in a way? Would have been if they did the bomb thing, and they detonated the bomb, and then the screen goes black, and then it comes back up, and it's the very beginning of the episode again, and they just released all that time energy in one go, and just
okay.
rewound to the beginning of the week.
Like Year of Hell.
Like Year of Hell.
Ah.
Interesting.
Oh, see, they could have done a Year of Hell where the ship got really fucked up by the Tholians.
Time's up.
And
Bitches.
I mean, that just would have been copying time Year of Hell, but at least they'd be copying a better episode.
Yeah. But yeah, like, blow up the ship, take all that crap from the future, from Daniel's room, and throw that into a sun. Why are we keeping this dangerous-ass shit around?
Because every so
Daniels
often it's
thing
useful.
the Daniels thing is pretty fucking
We need
nice
MacGuffins,
The-
damn it.
But the risk of it existing when it does outweighs the positives.
It's like how we just had that Suliban ship forever and
Yeah,
ever and
but
never
at least-
mentioned it.
And we
At
still
least-
have it. It's still there.
Wait, we do? God damn
Why
it.
wouldn't we? Like,
But, you know, at least that's from their time. Well, then again, it might have tech from the...
it certainly has future tech, because there's
Yeah.
a cloaking device.
Yeah, a really weird one.
Well, here's the other thing. That Daniels computer device, why haven't they just downloaded all of its contents at this point? Like, why are they still hiding it in Daniels?
Because T'Pol probably said it might prove time travel, therefore like, we don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah. I'm
she's-
not listening.
T'Pol is so racist.
How racist is she?
She would sooner believe in time travel than humans and Vulcans fucking.
I though, like...
Even though in her own story about Carbon Creek, there's a whole subplot about a Vulcan fucking a human.
Well, she didn't say that he was having offspring with the human.
Well, we know
That's
where it's
impossible.
going. We know where it's going.
But...
They won't even fit together. Come on.
That part is... compatible. It's just the DNA that isn't.
The butthole?
Thanks to the... Sure. That's really what it is, Jake.
Wait, humans have more than one hole?
Yikes.
It's just like the extra island that Vulcans have.
Yeah.
Oh, I love how the moment they see the dead body and they look at it, someone, either Phlox or Archer, and I don't remember, says, "Oh, it's a human." I'm like, how do you fucking know that? By just looking at its decaying
Was
corpse.
Phlox not using instruments?
I don't think I think it was just by looking at it, like, human. And I'm like, no.
Human.
Check.
What I did kind of...
Check, morons.
What I did kind of think was interesting was, like, you know, if you have someone who's watching this show who's maybe never seen TOS, they don't know that they've already answered the Zephram Cochrane question.
Mm-hmm.
So could actually have spent at least a little bit of the episode wondering, oh, is it Zephram Cochrane? Did he go missing? What's going on here?
Yeah, and like the
Who
Zephram
is
Cochrane,
that?
the Zephram Cochrane thing, like that would be interesting in and of itself to explore in an episode, because, again, if you don't know TOS, which I'm going to assume that a lot of the people watching this probably don't,
Right.
especially like
There's no Star Trek in the title. How would they know?
well, that, and it's like it's not one of the classics. It's not like a
Yeah, no, it's not.
City on the Edge of Forever. You know,
It's an episode I forget exists half the
Yeah.
fucking time.
like the only reason I think we even remember it is because they reused the character in First Contact.
Yeah.
You know, if that character was never reused, and like, oh right, Zephram Cochrane, the guy who invented the time warp.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
do
I
that
think,
again.
I think by...
You just a jump to the left, and then a step to the right.
Well, I think they
Put your hands on your
God
hips,
damn it. We'll never
Switch
get out
your
of
knees
this.
in time.
but it's the pelvic thrust.
It really drives you insane.
Anyway, sorry.
But, I think maybe TNG and DS9 did, you know, throw around Milla Cochranes on occasion. But yeah, that was about the extent of it.
Oh, yeah, the name of things.
Yeah,
Milla Cochrane's ridiculous.
More like micro Cochranes, if you know what I mean. A little dick.
Cochrane was the ship that Tom brought to Warp 10.
Oh, that's right, it was.
And then they blew it up at some point.
Oh, here's a thing about this episode that I noticed.
Good.
Yes.
So
A thing.
there's this wonderful, because I have to say, like, they first started playing with CG ships in Voyager, and they're pretty okay. I feel like they've really...
They started with DS9, didn't they? And they were
Oh
terrible.
yeah, they were terrible in DS9.
They were
They
fucking
were
awful.
getting better, I guess, in Voyager. And
Yeah, by
then-
Voyager they were passable.
Yeah, and then in this one, they're actually really good and like really detailed. And there's a great shot when the Vulcan ship is there and it's blown to smithereens.
Yeah.
There's chunks missing.
No one's dead.
You can see decks. So, yeah, and then the voiceover says, the Vulcan ship is badly damaged, but fortunately no casualties.
Oh, sorry, is that what you were building to?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Of course
I thought you were just actually talking about...
Tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
Because I did notice that how good the like,
Oh yeah,
destruction was.
I was like, wait a minute, somebody had to have died.
A bigger chunk of that ship was missing than the fucking chunk of the Enterprise B that killed Kirk.
Well, but
Yeah.
like also casualty doesn't even mean dead. It could
It's
just
true.
mean
Yeah,
injured.
nobody
You're
died.
telling me
Hurt.
nobody
Nobody
even
hit their
got
head.
hurt? That's
Yeah, that's-
bullshit.
You know what
doubly
this is?
stupid.
This is.
Defies
Here's
logic.
here's it is.
Good one, James.
At least 100 Vulcans got blown into space. They're all dead, but they didn't want Archer to know about it. When Archer's like, "Oh, how about your casualties?" The Vulcan captain's like, "We are fine."
They're in Archer's ready room. There's a thud as one of the corpses bounces off his window.
But what about that Vulcan right there? Oh, what? Nothing. Didn't see a thing.
He's just sleeping.
We can sleep in space.
It's one of our magical Vulcan
like-
powers.
Not long. Don't mention it to Paul. She'll be sad I told you.
Right. The one thing that I've seen people give credit to this episode for is the kind of little discussion that Reed and Trip have about would you like to know how things turn out if you could see the future? Or go back to the past and eat a stegosaurus? I forget how that went.
Get eaten by a stegosaurus.
Delicious. And I thought that was a cute little conversation, and it was very fitting for the two of them. 'cause,
really-
they're so cute together.
They are. But I was beside myself that Reed didn't know anything about dinosaurs. You're telling me that 100 some odd years, all little boys and girls don't love dinosaurs anymore?
This not this kid though.
That's exactly what I said. It's like, look, every other kid, yes. The minute Reed was born, they shoved a book about naval history into his hands, and that's all he was allowed to read until he was 17.
Reed is
And then
like,
porn.
you know, there were always dinosaur kids, and there always will be dinosaur kids. But
Yeah.
Reed was like, he was like the magnifying glass and ants kid, you know. He
was he killing them or just studying them?
He was studying their deaths.
Oh.
Studying how to kill them.
He was
Gosh, Reed's a fucker. And
firecrackers in the frog kid, okay?
No, I don't like that for him. That doesn't seem right.
Listen,
Besides which, he's English. He couldn't get his hands on that kind of shit. That's an American type of pastime.
Frogs?
No, firecrackers.
Ah.
They have
Oh,
fireworks
that
on.
was good.
They have fireworks on. Fucking bonfire night.
What are you talking about?
The British, they have fireworks displays on the.
Guy Fox.
Yeah,
Fox
but
Day.
who's lighting them off?
I'm just saying they might be able to get them in stores as well. I'm not
saying.
sure.
I'm just
Reed
saying,
is a
the cops
fucking
don't carry
psychopath,
guns.
okay?
They definitely aren't selling fucking fireworks
He's got
to their
serious
civilians.
emotional problems.
Yes,
I mean,
he
that's
does.
all true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, on the scale of Enterprise, this is fine. On the scale of better shows, it's...
Meh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard math. Like, I don't even know why we had this episode, because as we've said before, the temporal Cold War does not affect you, Archer. You are a fucking flea compared to these people who can, like, bend time to their whim. You're not gonna win the temporal Cold War as a human in, 2163? Is that when it is?
21-somethings, yeah.
20-something.
50s or 60s, I can't
Well, that's
remember.
why anything.
Why does he fucking care?
Because
Because he wants to befriend the entire future.
Oh no!
The concept of time, he wants it to be his friend.
yeah. Well, that's why introducing the temporal Cold War was pretty fucking stupid.
So dumb.
Because it also means that anything that kind of happens on this show is kind of pointless.
Well, like I said, I swear, the only reason they did it was so that if people complained about continuity, they could go, Temporal Cold War. A wizard did it.
Mm.
A wizard did it.
Not even an Admiral from the Future. Something.
Yes.
Best line of
Yeah,
Star Trek.
that's true. Like, Archer should just be listening to Chakotay.
Well, like the episode that sputtered on a wet fart. Next up,
Don't
Canamar.
worry, don't worry. Future Tense was still somehow more interesting than Canamar.
Oh, God, Canamar. You broke my heart.
I like this one.
Oh, did you?
I thought
Jesus.
this one was fine.
I'm
All right,
so
well,
sorry, Jake.
I thought it was okay.
When Zulus wasn't talking, I tuned out entirely.
You mean...
You liked him?
I
liked him too.
Yay!
This is why Ames and I get each other.
Did you like that little turd?
Dude, he was
I
a little turd.
I
He
didn't
was
mind
just-
him. He
He
didn't
was
bother me.
stressed out.
He was just looking for a friend.
You know,
And his makeup was
oh
absolutely
yeah,
phenomenal.
it was great. I
Yeah.
really liked it.
It was,
know-
I mean, I found his design
seaweed,
upsetting,
seaweed
but it
chin,
was well done.
Seaweed beard.
And
I
his-
thought it was
yeah,
cute. I thought he was very
his
cute.
weird
I liked him.
forehead pustules.
I loved him.
I
They
thought
looked like gemstones of some kind.
Oh, I thought it looked like maybe his brain was showing. I wasn't really
Ooh.
sure what was going on
That's
there.
interesting.
Anyway,
that
tell us about it,
actor
Chris.
Was you know who that actor is?
I looked him up,
I
so
looked
yes.
him up and I recognized nothing. Tell me what you know.
He was in Twister.
I've never seen, so.
You've never seen Twister? Oh, we gotta watch.
Oh, I
Twister.
saw he was in Twister, but actually his I'm not even kidding, his real like sort of claim to fame, he was in the original Gut Milk ad.
What? So he had that
Do you have a milk mustache? or-
cummy shit on his face.
The guy who couldn't answer the trivia
because
question,
you're right.
the peanut butter sandwich.
The one where he's
What?
eating a peanut butter sandwich and
I don't know this.
he hears a radio. He's listening to the radio and there's a contest that he knows the answer to. So he calls up the radio station and they're like, "Okay, caller 5, what is the answer?" And he goes, and they're like, "We're sorry, we can't understand you." He's like, and then he's like,
we're gonna have to find this ad.
and
I'm
then
sure
he's,
it's
and then
out
he's
there.
trying to drink some milk.
Yeah, but
and-
his like carton's empty or whatever.
And the
No.
carton's empty, so he can't because his mouth is
Well,
full
it's-
of peanut butter.
Milk
it's
is
funny.
the great unsticker when it comes to peanut butter.
Well, and I'd forgotten this. That ad was actually directed by Michael Bay. And in a weird bit of like, they looked into the future. The whole thing was this guy was like a wicked Alexander Hamilton nut. The question was about
Oh,
who
was
shot
Aaron Burr.
Hamilton.
Oh,
Burr.
And the answer was Aaron Burr.
Oh,
and of course,
my
this is
God.
30 years ago when most of us didn't give a flying fuck about that guy. So,
Yeah, really, you wouldn't even ask that
Oh,
now.
yeah, it's too
That's-
obvious.
Yeah,
That's
it's all
fucking
coming
wild.
back
I
to me. Oh my
remember
God.
that. That's
Yep.
fucking crazy.
He was
town.
the
Yeah.
guy with the sandwich.
Good
But
for
who is this
him.
guy? What's this episode?
Tell us.
What's going on?
Zulus forever.
Well, in Canamar, we open on a ship adrift, as Caitlin pointed out.
It's
But-
Shuttle Pod 1.
Yes, it's Shuttlepod 1 this time instead of a Phillips head, flathead. Fuck, blew my own joke. Ship.
I was expecting a pickup truck.
Blew my own self.
God.
Blame camera. Blame
Somehow
camera.
still has gas. Anyway, yeah, but so
This time it smelled like manure, but that's just because Archer was in there.
Archer and Trip had gone to a planet. They were coming back, but they got picked up by the space cops who claimed they were smugglers with no real evidence. So now they're on a prison ship, and you're like, oh god, we're doing this falsely imprisoned thing again.
Again.
But then a guy breaks out, and you're like, oh fuck, no, because, you
Prison
know,
break.
for once, Enterprise goes to the planet and is like, you took our people, and they go, oh fuck, we did. So they call up the ship, and they're like, a couple of them shouldn't be there. But there's a prison break, you're like, oh fuck, it's gonna turn into Con Air instead.
Ooh.
But no, not really.
Good movie.
It never
Great
is.
movie.
It
It's
kind
Con Air.
of, but not as like because the whole time it's just the sort of the two guys that had the plan, not like everybody that because that's Con Air. I put the emphasis weird there. In Con Air, it's kind of like, you know, this one guy does it, but then everyone else is like, yeah, this sounds good, except Nick Cage, who's just getting
Who's a
transported.
cop.
Yeah.
he was going to see his family again.
Yeah, we could put the bunna back or whatever.
You know, really what this episode was missing was the Steve Buscemi character.
I was
Yes.
just thinking there was
Oh
no
my
Steve
God.
Buscemi there.
Yeah.
When I first started having a crush on Steve Buscemi.
Same!
Oh my
Same!
God. What is
Wow.
wrong with these women?
I think we need to do Con Air as a 10 forward now. This is getting interesting. So anyway, you know, but this guy is just all about himself and his Nausicaan buddy. So he keeps the rest of them locked up. But the pilots got knocked out, and Archer's like, I'm a pilot. And Archer kind of plays along, trying to work out a way to escape. You think the easy thing to do would just be let the cops that show up capture them. But
Oh, yeah.
instead, he helps them flee.
But he does knock them out without destroying their ships. With
Yes,
that
and he does
plasma
convince,
thing.
the guy to let them live because it'll just make things worse.
Good ruse.
They get to a planet, and the guy's like, now put it into a decaying orbit. I just want me and my friend, and I guess you and your friend to live. And they escape. Oh yeah, the ship that was supposed to meet them, Enterprise intercepted it. When we aren't looking, they replace the crew with Enterprise people. There's a firefight.
There's a lot of fight. There's a lot of fist fight.
John and I don't even know the guy's name.
He's the
He's
guy.
with a K.
He's the guy that jumped into the warp nacelle beam.
Oh yeah,
Really?
Pierce from
No
Eye of the
shit.
Beholder.
Eye of the
Wow.
Beholder,
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
After murdering
Caitlin
his
recognized him
girlfriend
for something else.
and other person.
Yeah, he's from Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
He was
He
the
was. He was
he's
the
the head.
rapist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, one of them. He's the I would say the head
Leader.
of the queens or whatever they call themselves.
Sisters.
Sisters.
This
Right.
guy
I got
plays
that.
a type, doesn't he?
Yeah.
No, he plays a mean
Say,
creep.
Kuroda.
Wait, before you go on, can you remember? He then gets like beaten to paralysis by the guards, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And okay, that's what I thought. I
Yeah,
was like,
'cause
then
it was-
because he tries to rape Andy, they beat the shit out of him. But by then, Andy was helping the guards with their finances or whatever, so they like beat him until he's
Yeah, Clancy
No longer able
Brown
to-
beats the shit out of him.
right. Clancy Brown,
We love
downtown
Clancy
Clancy Brown.
So yeah, he was Kuroda Loran or
I
Chan.
think we may have only ever heard him say Kuroda a bunch.
Yeah.
So Kuroda.
So,
is-
of course, him and Archer the last one's on the ship. He fights. He locks himself in the thing 'cause he just is so desperate not to go back to Canamar that he'd rather die. The end.
I just don't know why Archer tried so hard to save him.
Because
He
he's
bef-
Archer.
He befriends everyone he meets, even if they're the wrong people.
Ugh.
Every fucking time. He's best friends with Shran for reasons. He's best friends with Clancy Brown for reasons. Archer can't fucking help himself.
Well,
Okay,
there seems to be
Archer-
a little bit of destiny surrounding him and Shran. To be fair, the
Hot.
red string of fate, perhaps.
Archer is best friends with Shran because Shran is the only person he's met who hates Vulcans more than he does.
Also, Strand is
Good
a
point.
great friend.
Well,
Like,
yes, he is.
You know?
But I think the initial attraction was like, wait, you hate Vulcans? I hate Vulcans. Did we just become best friends?
Yes.
And then they play drums.
Is that Step Brothers?
Yes.
Great.
Which I've never seen, but I remember the ad.
Oh, okay, me either.
But yeah, at first I was like, oh god, not another falsely imprisoned episode. And then I was like, oh wait, a twist! It's Con Air! But no, nowhere near as good.
Yeah, it's very fascinating because very high up in my notes, it's funny because I have a note that says, "Oh no, I haven't taken any notes. I haven't been taking any notes because I'm so bored."
Mm.
And because I had flipped my card over to check someone's name or something, and it was okay, Zumas, that's the guy's name, and then never flipped it back over to take another note because there was just nothing for me to say about this episode.
Yeah, I do think this episode could have been improved if more of the criminals were freed.
Yeah.
I also, again, okay, so maybe it's Archer's rule not to kill anybody. It's certainly not the murder,
Nausicaan?
the Nausicaan or Kuroda's, and yet they went.
But he's gonna put them in a planet in a decaying
Yeah.
orbit.
So
But
what? Yeah.
but then
Why not
did
kill
they-
them now?
Why did they leave the guards alive? Like, why do any of this?
Especially if they're just going into this decaying orbit. Like, no matter what, they're gonna die. You're planning for these people to die. It's not gonna matter when.
Yeah. I mean, unless for some reason the guards' guns don't have a kill setting. Why is
Smash them with those manacles.
Yeah, because they do shoot a couple people, but they're only ever just stunned. I could see the logic of the guns on a prison transport only having stun settings for a case just like this.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I'll give them that.
I like the shocking thing. The shocking thing was used to
Yeah,
good
that's
effect.
pretty cool. The Nausicaan really should have been more of a heavy too. I feel.
Yeah.
Like. He kind of got bitched a bunch.
Yeah, we both were like when Trip hits him over the head with the manacles, he should have done nothing.
Yeah,
He
that's
should
what I
have stood
thought was
up,
gonna
turned
happen.
around, and Trip should be like,
I
"Oh,
fully
shit."
expected, because, shocker guys, Trip is an engineer.
Mm.
Son of a bitch. And he's been working in this doodly thing.
Oh yeah, I thought it was gonna be electricity.
And it's like,
didn't you?
Yep.
can you reach in there and get that thing? I thought he was going to zap him and
Yep.
knock him
I
out
thought
that
so
way.
too.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was waiting for there to
That
win a
was
booby
the
trap.
They forget pretty often that Trip should have this kind of expertise.
Well, maybe he does, but he didn't want to fuck up the innards because he knew he needed to get around with the ship.
This was just for the hatch, though.
You know what they
Well, I
could have
don't
brought
know.
back for this if they
The
wanted to?
Suliban invisible ship.
They could have brought back Trandok, the fucking blue monster
From
that
Six?
With the knee?
that Kirk has to fight. He could have been one of the prisoners.
Yeah, why not?
And-
Instead of an
that-
Nausicaan.
And yeah, exactly. And then that poor guy just gets kicked in the knees all the time.
Actually, and that could have been the one thing. Like, that could have really justified Zumas or whatever. If at one point during his rambling, he was like, "Hey, blue fella keeps his genitals in his knee." And so when they're, he hits him over the back, he stands up and glares at Trip, and then there's like the echo, like Trip remembering, genitals in the knee. And then he kicks him in the knee, and then he's like, You were all right, Seaweed Beard. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Now, what did you think of Seaweed Beard? Because those two loved him. I wanted him airlocked.
I thought it was a cool design. It was in a
Oh yeah, design.
Star Trek. Oh, you mean just as a character?
Yeah, like did you want him airlocked or did you want to give him a hug?
I didn't. I was kind of indifferent to him. I didn't like that he ratted when they were planning to, when they were tricking Badman to come out, and he ratted on. Trip.
Well, because he didn't know the plan. Because how would he have known the plan?
Well, no, but then after he's like, "Oh, you should be thanking me.
Yeah,
you made a big mistake."
I mean, the character that they created to be annoying, which is an annoying trait to give someone as their only trait. When really, like, there's that moment when Trip's like, "Shut the fuck up," and he says, "You know, I'm going to prison for probably the rest of my life, and I thought for a hot second I could have a nice day."
10 years.
For 10 years of my 10-year life.
I think the only time I felt really, really bad for him was when Trip asked the Nausicaan if he could switch seats.
Like in front of him, too.
Well, like,
I wanted to mention first, nominated for an Emmy in prosthetic makeup, but lost to Primetime Glick.
Really?
Oh my god! You know that episode of Curb when Larry runs into Martin Short,
and they're doing
he's
the
like,
Glick
"How do you
voice
do that
at
Glick
each other?"
voice? You go up high and you go over there," and then Larry's like, "You go here." And Martin Short's like, "No." Not that my impression was good.
I hear you two just do that for a while.
Like, "Oh, high up and go there." He's so bad. He's like. That's my Larry David doing Martin Short impression. I don't know that I could do a good Glick.
Oh, she's giving in to the power
well,
of
you know what it is,
the doctor.
honestly, is like I'm falling asleep and it's not anyone's fault, but I'm...
Just what the doctor ordered. Speaking of which, there wasn't a lot of doctor in this one, was there?
Thank God.
Yay! I don't remember seeing the doctor at all in this episode.
I don't think he was in this episode.
He was in the first one for like 2 seconds. No, wait, which episode did he have the chat with T'Pol?
First one.
Yeah, and then she takes off and he's like, "Well, you didn't have any celery for me to steal anyway. I'm glad you're gone."
I meant to say with the last one.
Okay.
T'Pol's starting to really feel like Scully. It's like you've got so much evidence this shit is real. Well, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's just stubbornness.
It's defying logic at this point because logic would dictate that having seen all of this time travel stuff, the logical explanation is time travel is real.
It's starting to feel like the only way this is fake is if this is a Dana Carvey level Freeman OJ prank. Because the amount of people that would have to be involved. Anyway,
Freeman
back to
OJ.
this.
Yeah. So I brought us out off course just by mentioning Primetime Glick.
Oh, another thing about Martin Short. I'm just kidding.
No, please
I'm
don't.
just kidding. I was just kidding.
I do love him,
The
but
Three
that's
Amigos.
That's a
Great
great-
film.
We already talked about that a few weeks ago with that terrible...
Right, because of the Magnificent Seven or whatever.
Yeah.
So what were you trying to bring up about Zulus and why everyone's so mean to him for no reason?
Oh, me or Jake?
One of you was talking.
I was just saying
I hate him.
I didn't hate him, but I also didn't. I was very indifferent to
Listen, he's not going to do well in prison, though. That's the thing. Like, he needs to get that shit out of his system.
With a pretty mouth like that, I mean...
Oh, actually, that is what I was going to say, though, is I will agree. I feel like Trip asked to have his seat changed a little early. Like, later on, yeah, like, oh my god, this guy does not shut up.
Not since Lazarus's gravy beard have we seen such a magnificent facial hair either.
Yeah, that's true. When he asked to have his seat changed so early, I'm like, why? The guy's being just friendly.
Yeah, by later, especially because one of the things Trip mentions that he said that we didn't hear was he apparently went into detail about a night he had with an Orion slave girl.
And I wanted to hear more about it. I was actually mad that we didn't get that conversation.
I don't need to hear some guy's tryst with someone who is unwillingly a sex worker.
Okay, well, when you say it like that, it sounds gross.
Oh, a slave girl! Ah, what are those?
I wonder if she was green.
I don't. Yeah. We don't know.
Green.
Can only assume.
Oh, sorry, I thought Tholian got out.
They wish that the Tholians sounded that good. They sounded like when they interview like prisoners in like one of those like expose type shows, and they have them behind like they put them in the dark, and they're like, "I never saw anybody." Yeah,
what?
You know when
they do like the voice changing.
Yeah,
oh, you mean when the translated?
No, not translated. Yes.
Yeah, not the high pitched screeching.
Not the skittering.
I was like,
you know
I love when I'm watching like 2020 and they interview somebody
that
anonymously and it's just.
You know what the skittering reminded me of, though? It reminded me of the raptors in Jurassic Park a little bit. Like when they attack the guy at the beginning of Jurassic Park. Shoot! There's a bunch of weird dinosaur noises.
There really is just nothing to talk about this episode. We keep tangenting.
Yeah, that's weird for us.
Yeah, but this is one of our.
I wish we didn't see we didn't see it, but we saw that they had shackles that were fucking huge.
Oh, I missed that. That is a nice touch.
They get when they're fighting at the end, they're beating each other with the shackles. Archer and
yeah, there were some that were like this, like grapefruit sized wrists.
Okay, that's
like, oh, it's a nice
nice
touch.
attention to detail.
What was that for?
I bet the hunters in Voyager,
Erogen?
I bet they have big thick ass wrists.
Yeah, but they haven't met them. They're up in the Delta Quadrant.
Well, I know. She said, I wonder who those are for, and I'm suggesting perhaps the Herogen would fit them.
That guy with the genitals behind his knees.
Those weird cat people from TAS that weren't Caitians.
The Gazinti?
Yeah, didn't they have pretty big arms? Or am I making that up?
But they're cats, so they have little paws.
True.
Meow.
Rock Talk.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, hurt people.
Brickars.
Oh.
One of my notes is, so how do we know Archer and Trip weren't smuggling?
We don't.
Maybe they thought, maybe it was a misunderstanding and like the customs agents boarded the ship and one of them was like, these two men are cuddling, and somebody misheard it as, or no, they said snuggling. Oh, why are these two guys snuggling on the ship? Did you say smuggling? Arrest them at once!
Weird.
They always snuggle when they watch water polo.
I mean,
That's what they do.
Oh, God.
They call that Friday night.
Did you guys notice the water polo shout out in this fucking episode?
oh yeah, they
I
found
did.
some sport that was similar but not the same.
I groaned audibly.
Some other planet was dumb enough to invent that game.
I mean, I'm sure water polo itself is fine.
I
Archer's being so fanboyish about it.
That's
like
Smuggling.
snuggling?
What were they snuggling? No, what were they suspected of smuggling?
They never said.
Yeah, I don't think they said.
Why would they say? Why?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
But you would need, if they were smuggling, they would have contraband.
You'd think.
That's the whole point. So, not only this was just a total
Well, they clearly
cock-up.
searched Shuttle Pod 1 because they found blood all over.
You know what it is? They found some pirated sports DVDs.
No, you know what it really was? One of the many people that had the misfortune of meeting Archer was just like, I want that man going to Canamar. And he just bribed some policeman. Just plant something on him. Plant it. You have to go to prison.
Was it Dave Chappelle who had the joke about like sprinkling crack on criminals?
Yes.
Yeah, like that. Sprinkle some crack on
Sounds
them.
like a good joke. Oh, no, wait, that sounds horrifying.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it probably was a good joke, but I'm not going to try to tell it and make it stupid. You know what I mean?
Well, so it turns out Dave Chappelle has turned into.
Oh,
yeah, he sucks now. This is a long time ago.
Yeah, it's back when he was still funny.
I haven't seen a Dave Chappelle special since that special.
They keep getting worse by all accounts.
Yeah, I've heard that he's a real...
He loves punching down, he says.
Good for him.
'Cause they
That's
can't
nice.
punch back up.
Great. Good for him. What a cool guy.
Speaking of cool guys, were we supposed to sympathize with Kuroda? Like, what exactly was going on with him?
No, he was just a psycho.
He was just a shitbag.
I don't know, dude. Being in jail when you're 14 is pretty
Yeah, because there was like
sauce.
the scene where he's almost talking with Archer about like why he should be allowed to do things and stuff.
Well, that's the thing. They kind of, that's something that they introduced that plot point earlier, and we could have gotten more story. That could have been interesting because, like, yeah, there is a discussion to be had about, you know, overly early and in his case, presumably false incarceration. Excuse me.
No proof either way though.
Yeah, but like just, you know, and even if it
definitely snuggling.
Even if it was, he did in fact do it. Like again, the idea of just like incarcerating someone in 14, like does that actually help versus some other system of punishment? You know, there's a discussion you could have there, but this was like, it was a throwaway thing, and so at the end of the day, he's just a jerk.
And then it does just become Desert Crossing again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's kind of, like, that's the thing about this episode, is it is kind of just more Desert Crossing.
Was that the one with,
That's the one with Clancy Brown.
With Clancy Brown, yeah.
Yeah. Where it's just like, oh, Archer and Trip are trapped in a bad situation.
Yeah. Again, they should have just said, fuck it. We like ripping stuff off sometimes. They should have just gone full Con Air. And it probably would have been better.
I think if they had a Steve Buscemi alien, that would have worked it way better.
Yeah.
Always.
Ames and I would have known who our favorite character was, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we do anyway. We kind of think we like we like seaweed mouth.
Yeah, I did like him.
I did too. Not sexually. I just liked him.
What happened to the people that he was rendezvousing with?
It's locked up somewhere on Enterprise.
Who was rendezvousing with?
The shuttle there
No,
that
no,
they
Enterprise
took over.
never takes people into a brig. They should have done that with Ferengi and...
Well, they don't have a brig, so they're just locked. Right now, they've locked them in the
decon room.
I was going to say cafeteria, but that
Forced
too.
to apply gel to each other.
Wait.
Speaking of which, yet another time we don't decon.
Yeah, true.
And bringing people on board after being out and about.
Listen, you're not meant to think about it except that one time when we definitely thought about it. When we remembered to make someone do it.
I just think it's if there's no ladies.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Like Phlox is the one that makes the decisions on when they do it.
Gross.
Yeah, that is
like,
gross.
Archer and Trip. Yeah, you guys are good. DePaul and Hoshi, Cutler, get in there. You guys are filthy.
Being fair, Cutler's offering to go in when she doesn't need to.
That's true.
This away team was a real sausage fest.
What about that time Trip was in there on his own? Who got his back?
Phlox.
Commander, looking very handsome today.
Speaking of a sausage fest, do you want to move on to our character spotlight this week?
Oh, double
Ooh,
sausage.
blood-
Man that loves
Bloodtivity.
sausage.
Yowza! Double sausage.
Why is it a double sausage?
Because he's a Klingon.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Oh, that's
Klingon
one of his
two
top
Klingdongs.
things.
One of my favorite things about Worf.
Because this week we're talking Worf, our Klingon friend of you and me, and this way we also get to span both TNG and Deep Space Nine.
Finally
Because
some
I
good
ran out of other people on TNG I wanted to talk about.
What about O'Brien?
O'Brien's later.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Because he's barely in TNG.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
okay.
he's in
it for like
quite a
several
bit.
seasons. It's
But
just
he's
he's not.
way more.
Yeah, he doesn't do much.
I
He
know,
plays
I
cello
know.
a couple times.
He plays cello.
Or once.
He plays cello?
Yeah.
How did I forget that?
He does.
Blunt Tool O'Brien plays cello?
I mean,
Yep.
he's just in a concert scene though. Like it's not about him playing cello.
No, it's not. I'm just saying it's one of the
We've
few
seen
You
things.
know,
I've
the
seen.
cello episode.
Anyway,
Worf.
he's in I think through 5 seasons.
But it's true that he's never nearly as.
Yeah, he's not a main character.
Not at all.
He's
It's way more appropriate for him to be in the DS9 conversation. Worf though could be in either
Or both.
Or both.
or both or neither.
No,
Neither.
Not neither. That makes no sense.
He could also be in. Shit. Oh no, that's also TNG. No, wait. What episode is it where he shows up as his own grandfather?
no, that's
That's like a movie, isn't it?
that's Alexander who.
No.
shows
You're
up.
thinking of
She's
Star
in-
Trek 6.
Oh,
Star Trek 6.
Colonel Worf.
That
Yes,
isn't
sorry.
Worf, though. That
No,
is a
I mean-
different character.
Yeah, but it's Michael Dorn.
It is Michael Dorn, because of course it is.
My tops are kind of lazy for Worf because there's a ton of tops. He is a top, I'm sure.
Oh, I don't know.
Not to KLR.
Not to fucking.
Jadzia?
Yeah, I feel like Jadzia definitely. Maybe they switch off.
I think they probably did.
Well, because he's always like, "When are you going to marry me, Jadzia?" And she's like,
I want a big Klingon wedding.
Yeah, they probably
I'm
they
imagining
probably
him
take
as,
turns.
Like, I'm imagining him as Satan in South Park, and Jadzia is like Saddam Hussein.
I don't know the joke.
Oh, really?
Anyway, Worf.
Do you?
Yes, I know what you mean.
Fine.
Worf. First 2, I think, these are pretty good. He killed the fuck out of Duras.
Woo!
If anyone ever needed killing,
Yeah.
it was Duras.
Yep.
Alexander. Oh,
Except for
Duras.
maybe number 2,
Gowron.
Gowron.
Yay!
Another person who needed
Those
killing.
are my 1 and 2 too.
And somehow Gowron looked less surprised than normal when he got run through.
And then I wanted to save my third one for just like
Jokes.
a great
Oh.
like Worf joke.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many. So I'll save you guys some of the better ones. This one's less of a joke and it's more of just like a badass thing.
Mm-hmm.
Assimilate this.
Oh, interesting.
Is that during First Contact?
That's from First Contact when he blows up the Borgs.
He's great.
He shoots them and he says,
Oh wait,
"Assimilate this."
normal bullets work on these fucking things. Pew pew.
But yeah, so I saved you guys some of the better one-liners. of which there are myriad.
Well, I'm gonna go with being a great father to that kid he adopted.
Yes, Jeremy Astor.
That's not actually one of mine.
Oh, damn it, it's on my list.
I just wanted to start a line with being a great father.
I have already allotted
hey.
it.
What have we said about not stealing things that could be honorable mentions?
Fair.
You're stuck with it now. It's one of your favorite 3. I'm sorry.
Is
I don't
it?
make the rules. No, I don't know. It's up
Jeremy,
to Ames. It's up to Ames. This is Ames's show. I don't mean the whole
I've already,
show. I've
already
this
bolded
segment.
it, and I don't want to unbold it.
But you said it was on your list, so...
No. She said it's on
Ames's
the huge...
list has about 30 things.
Ames has all
being
of the
a
things.
better father to some kid than his actual son.
Yay.
Killing Gowron.
Yay.
Not killing Picard where he stands.
When?
First contact.
Oh, shit.
If you were any other man, I'd kill you where you
That's
stand.
a good line.
Because Picard calls him a bitch.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, he kind of is a bitch.
Well, see,
He
Picard
was
used to...
being a bitch.
Picard used to TNG Worf, who only exists to get bitched, not
Well,
DS9 Worf.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about that scene. Picard's like, hey, let's go on this suicide mission. And Worf's like,
I don't know. Today doesn't look like a great day.
yeah, this is a shitty day to die. I'm not doing ramming speed in this bitch. Come on, let's get out of here.
By this point, he's met Jadzia. He's kind of got something to live for, finally.
He was literally gonna ram the Defiant into a Borg cube the previous day.
But that would have saved Jadzia. This
and
isn't going to do
kill
anything
Adam
for
Scott
Jadzia.
in the process.
Adam Scott, no.
I always forget about that till he pops up. It's like, oh yeah, he's in this. For 2 seconds.
Very cute. How about you, Caitlin?
Yeah, Gowron. Killing
good,
Gowron,
good.
that was one of the things I thought.
Always good.
I thought that it was really nice when he tried to help Kor. Is it Kor? Who's got dementia and he has no honor and he's trying to help him by talking him into getting
once more unto the breach.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. By getting him a place on
Martok's ship.
Okay.
And
I feel like he was being a real mensch there. I mean, it turned out to be a horrible idea.
Well, in the end, Kor ended up saving everybody.
That's true, he did. So
Kor ended up bitching Worf and locking him in a closet so he could go martyr himself. But okay.
Still think the secretary should have gone with him. That's really
true,
felt like they were setting up for that.
Friends.
I feel like the writers stole a good death from that guy.
Do I get to have a joke, or can I have to hold it until you said?
Do you have? Well, I think
I have a joke. No, I have. I need
thing.
2 more.
Tell me anything.
Well, I think it's great that he dated Troy because Troy deserved good lovin'.
They were a good couple.
I loved them.
I loved them.
It really worked.
Okay, but here's my joke. Being an awesome birthing coach to Keiko O'Brien for the baby that definitely wasn't his.
I forgot about that somehow.
I figured that wasn't.
Especially because the great
that
callback.
Goes on the bad list.
That's like a good. No, but that's like a good. Like the good.
Mrs. O'Brien, bite down on this leather and breathe.
There was.
Can you imagine Worf doing Lama's breathing, trying to work her through the contractions?
The fact that that was it was a great comedic moment because the whole time he's doing it as if it's by the book.
Yeah.
And she's like, "This is not how this works, Worf."
I don't know.
Why have you not
given birth? Get some towels and hot water.
You are fully dilated. You may now give birth. You know.
See, I blame Worf for allowing a baby on the show. So.
But
it's staying in there.
I mean, that's like the second fucking child he's brought on board. So
yeah. And then the callback though in DS9 is great when he finds out she's pregnant again. You just see his face no.
I will be out of town that day.
Yep.
No,
it
wasn't that she was pregnant. It was Keiko's having a baby, and he goes, "No."
Right. That's right.
And then he hides under the table.
Oh God, Ames.
I have some new ones because why not?
Oh, good.
Because a really great Worf moment is in By Inferno's Light when he just pounds all those Jem'Hadar in the fighting ring.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
And considering it's been a show of watching Worf get his ass handed to him. Whenever you needed to show that another alien is strong, it is so nice to watch him hold his own for a fucking change.
And the fact that he just gets his ass beat and keeps getting up.
Yeah, he keeps standing. Even Martok is like, "Stay down! No! Won't do it." Of course, the lovely, lovely tea and poetry scene with Pulaski.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And what's another good one? Oh, here's a great one. When he and Kalar dress up as macho Klingons to trick those Klingons coming out of cryo in the Emissary.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Emissary.
Emissary. God damn it, Star Trek.
An honorable mention. Actually, I mean, this probably should have been on my list, but I wanted to assimilate this in. The Gital with Cedo Jackson.
That's a good one.
That's good, yeah.
I liked it when he met the people in what's that episode where Odo is like when Odo is like makes them go back in time to save Kira.
Children of Time.
Yeah, when he meets the Klingons and he like hangs with them and teaches them the way of the warrior and shit. Or
it went much better than the time he met the Klingon Romulan kids in that TNG two-parter.
Oh, that's in my worst moments, but we'll get to that.
Since none of us have mentioned it, honorable mention, good tea.
Nice house.
Nice house.
Yeah, I was thinking about
Fun
that
line.
as well.
And then the other comedy moment that no one has said was
I am not a merry man.
That's a great
I
one.
considered smashing the loot for my list.
Smashing the loot. Death to the opposition.
Yes.
Yeah.
The lesson here is Dorn's good at a one-liner.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he's excellent. He's got like that comic.
I feel like how can I? When he was like, "How can I prove to you that I'm human?" Die.
Oh, it was with Q, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
How do you fuck up, Jake? Oh.
I was just gonna say that Michael Dorn is great. Worf is great generally. Like, yeah, he has some bad moments like we're about to talk about, but it isn't ever because Dorn doesn't do a great job, in my opinion. I'm
going to leave off the obvious one.
Do not.
And go with 3 lesser obvious ones. But I think
someone will get it. Someone will circle.
I'm absolutely going to.
No,
but
that's
we
why
all should.
I'm saving it. I'm saving it for you.
Thank you.
Siding with Admiral Satie in the
in
the Drumhead.
He was big into fascism in that episode.
I don't remember that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one where there's a terrorist bombing on the ship, and even though the guy that did it was Klingon, but it turns out that he had a Romulan explosive, so he was like a traitor. And then they're investigating it, and they start blaming that half Romulan guy.
Tarsus,
yeah.
Simon Tarsus, and Worf is like all on board with the prosecution until he's like, oh, fucking, this lady was full of shit, and
I fell for it hard.
Yeah, and Picard had to basically tell me I suck. I'm gonna say his obstinance in not giving blood to the Romulan in the enemy.
I was just thinking about that
absolute,
myself.
like, what a piece of shit.
Yep.
And that man died. Thanks, Worf. And almost caused a huge fucking international incident. If Geordi and what's-his-fuck hadn't survived...
Bokra! Love him!
If Bokra hadn't survived, that would have been bad.
Yep.
Galorndon Core, damn it! And then I'm going to say the other one, this might be an obvious one, wiping Kern's memory.
Yep, that's a good one.
Why are you taking all of mine?
Sorry. I mean,
he's left some of the obvious ones on table for us to clean up.
I know, but if you only have 3,
I'm gonna take some of the obvious ones you missed, because that way we'll overlap less.
There you go.
Siding with the Ryzen terrorists.
Yep.
Great. Well, my whole list has now been said.
Yep.
No reason for me to
without
speak.
sin. Fucking awful. Bad Worf. Bad.
I mean, it's obvious, but again, I had been I'd had 4 I really wanted to say. And I will knock one off now so I can say this. What a shitty father to his actual son. Just so bad.
Terrible dad.
But I gotta keep on there wiping...
Wait, so is that on your list or not on... I'm confused if that's on your list or
No,
not.
being a bad father is on my list
Okay,
now.
good.
Because Jake already said one of the other ones. I was kind of...
now.
wanted to say more than that, but now I can say that. But I've got to keep wiping his brother's memory on there.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like that. It has to be said again because it's just too awful.
Especially for a Klingon.
I was gonna say the not giving the Romulan guy blood, but since
so to overlap with Jake twice.
Yeah, I knocked it off so I could say Alexander because it got said.
Yeah, just if it were not a Klingon, it might have been a different situation, or at least slightly better. But the fact that it just feels like he's erasing. Like, Kern wanted to die.
Yeah.
Which is a thing that Klingons are allowed to do. And Worf said, fuck you. You're doing it my way.
That's even less honorable than anything else.
Right.
What a dick. Have all of yours already been said, Caitlin?
No, I'm thinking of some new ones.
Got it. Get it.
He really has been, like, because I don't know if I kept this in the recording, but I forgot to prep for this one. This is one of the easiest ones we've ever done for me. His stuff is very memorable when he does it.
He does some. Well, he does some big bad things.
He does some big bad things.
And some big good things.
And some big good things. So you like, it's like, oh, that's done. We figured it out.
Yeah.
Well, he got bitched by a big blue barrel. Loser.
We saw a big blue barrel floating in the pond up the street recently, and we're like, oh.
Got his revenge.
Run, Worf, run.
Well, got his revenge by polluting. I'm gonna put Worf as a dirty polluter on my list now, fucking son of a bitch.
He drowned that barrel.
It had children.
Motherfucker.
Had blue kegs.
All the shit that he was giving Jadzia for, like, having friends and, like, continuing to fraternize, like, to continue to have relationships with people who she may have had previous
that's right.
encounters with.
Yeah.
We got kind of a jealous Worf, and it was kind of yucky.
Jealousy is not a good look on anybody.
I guess also, like, he's kind of a douchebag to Ezri. And I don't like Ezri, but I also think it's bullshit.
Yeah, it's not her fault.
Oh, yeah.
It's not her fault.
It got better
I've got
after
that on
they
my list,
banged.
too.
Yeah, which, god damn it. Can I add that to my
So
list?
fucked up.
Banging Ezri.
I've got it right here. It's number 1 on
Atta
my
girl.
list.
Banging
Wow.
Ezri.
Fucking Ezri, bad Worf, bad Worf.
Like, it's just because, I mean, my honorable mention would be trying to marry everybody he fucks all the time.
Catholic
Jesus
clinging.
Whoa, we gotta
Christ.
say the words.
Yeah, now
We
he's
do.
like, now does he try that shit with Ezri? But, like, seriously, like, that's almost like, I don't know, if your dead wife had a twin sister and you were trying to, like, recapture those feelings. Like, just don't do it. You know it's a bad thing to do. Don't.
Especially after all the drama in Rejoined, where we know that the hosts
Oh, yeah, well, that's...
already
Okay, but here's the thing.
complicated.
That's why Ezri shouldn't have done it.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Like,
And
in
we
a
can
way...
talk about that in Ezri's episode.
Takes two to tango.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's even worse because in a way we know that, like, she wasn't really trained for this.
Yeah.
We know she's having issues that she shouldn't be because, again, she didn't get the training. So, like, even if, like, you can claim she consented, it was like, did she? Or is, like, Jadzia's memory kind of overwhelming her a little? Could you consider her, like, not fully in control of her faculties? Like, she's drunk almost, in a way.
I don't know if I would say it's that much. I mean, I think that there's some, like...
But if I was him in the back of my mind, I'd be like, I don't know if this is actually you or Jadzia.
Yeah, there's definitely an element of taking advantage, even though I don't...
And again, and that's why he shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
There are great reasons why neither of them should have entertained this.
Yeah.
They are myriad and different. But, yeah, they're there, and that's one of them.
They're there.
They're there.
They're
Poor
there.
woman. Him and fucking ends up fucking Bashir, which is horrible.
Ugh, poor Ezri.
Well, I don't know. Bashir's alright. And it makes more sense. And Ezri is so fucking annoying.
But it's still, like, because he was carrying a fucking...
Yeah, but he
torch.
eventually sort of got over that, it seemed.
Yeah, I don't
No,
know.
he didn't. He was back on it once she died.
Well, yeah, but, like, I don't know. Listen. What
Anyway,
the
we'll
fuck,
get
what
to that later.
What did
Another
Bashir
week.
not do? Fucking what's her name from the Idiot Brigade, the woman that couldn't talk.
Okay, we'll do Julian in a couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
keep that counting.
Julian's got his
I'm just
own
saying
fucking
he's got
problems.
lots of fucking ethnically.
Ethnically?
Wow. No,
Come
I said ethic and then I fucked myself up. But a lot of like morally questionable sexual practices.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I have 2 more stupid things Worf does.
All right, Worf, you
Speaking
idiot.
of terrible sexual practices, the whole thing with Ba'el and Birthright, we mentioned it a moment ago because she was one of those half Romulan, half Klingon things. And when he learns that she's half Romulan, like his reaction is just unbecoming of him, and I was upset.
He's like, now I have to cut my dick off.
He's so racist against Romulans.
I mean, but again, it's. I think that's okay. It's not good. It's not a good character trait, but I think it's okay that it is a.
oh yeah, it
character
makes sense for his character,
Yeah.
but it's still like
It still makes him bad.
It still makes it bad. Yeah, it's not
Bad.
good that he's racist.
I
but
appreciate
it's,
that they were willing to give a major character
That
a
kind of
flaw.
trait.
It makes him more real.
And be consistent about
Yeah.
it too.
It makes him more real.
Yeah, I agree.
But bad.
Oh yeah, no, it is bad.
Naughty Worf.
Real
We're not
bad.
condoning
I
it in
honorable
universe.
mention.
I'm
Wait,
not
Ames
done.
is
you're
done.
done.
Yeah, sorry, Ames
That was
is
only
done.
2.
You guys went off on
We keep-
Julian
yeah.
weeks early.
I stomped all over Ames's
okay.
thing.
I
I'm
thought
sorry.
you were
One
done.
last one.
Go, Ames, get it.
Because I don't like this, and I always hated it. He is so racist to Quark all the time that he has never called Quark by his actual name.
Barkeep.
Oh, yeah.
And that starts in Hippocratic Oath when he's trying to investigate Quark, and then it turns out that that he has just entirely thrown Odo's sting.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't help himself from not trusting Quark. Well, good, you should never trust Quark. But he's doing it for racism reason and not for actual reason.
Yeah, no, he doesn't actually know Quark. Like, Odo knows Quark. You don't trust Quark.
Yeah, and Odo's on top of things.
But
She was
Like Quark.
never mind.
that is also, again, because, like, for some reason, the Ferengi are the one species it's okay to be racist against in the whole Federation.
Well, I think we all know why. I'm
I'll
suggesting
mention-
it's an anti-Semitism
Yes,
problem.
I understood.
Okay, great.
got it.
I'm not
Yeah.
condoning it. I'm just saying, I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying, like, that's one of those things people just somehow fucking get away with all the time. Stupid.
He fucking killed a kid playing soccer.
Okay, but that was like an accident. I mean,
And
like,
he felt really bad about it for the rest of his life.
But also, like, that was something that, like, the people who were, like, doing the intramural sports probably should have been thinking about, like...
Oh, here's a really violent kid. Maybe we should not have him play.
Well, no, it's not
here's
even
the
that,
thing.
but by then we must have known that Klingons have way more fucking strength than human beings. Like, maybe...
But see, then you wind up in the really awkward situation of having to... It doesn't look great if you're going, look, we don't want your kid playing this sport with our kids because his head is hard.
Well, they don't have any problem doing that to fucking trans kids.
Well, yes, but it's the 24th century. They're better by then.
Put on a special helmet.
I was saying, they maybe should have made him wear some sort of helmet.
So
Him
what
or
you're
the other
saying is
kids.
Him.
it was wokeness that got that kid killed.
No.
It's kind of what I heard you say, to be
No.
honest, so.
Just saying, like, you can't just say you can't play this because you're the wrong race. It's not good.
Species, not race.
Species, yes.
Alien race.
But yeah, just make everyone wear a helmet. Worf to
I'm
pad.
shocked that
But
they
what was
don't
it?
have proper
Was it-
protection. Like,
Because it's soccer, and
What, I was
people
gonna say,
think you
what
don't
game
need...
were they playing?
it was soccer.
Okay, but like, let's be real. By the 24th century, it's gonna be like touch soccer, you know,
Oh, yeah.
just like it's gonna be touch flag
Yeah,
football.
and
all this
everyone's
shit.
gonna have like personal force fields.
Oh yeah, that's a good
Ooh,
point.
like
Everyone
Dune.
would
Like
have
in Dune,
personal
yeah.
force fields.
Oh, I like
Will they
this.
have still suits like Dune?
Well, if you want to drink your own piss, you certainly will.
Absolutely.
Jake, have we met? Do you
That's
know how
what
much I
I'm
like the film
that-
Waterworld?
That's what I'm saying.
I think we both know I want to drink my own
I
piss,
was
Jake.
not expecting Waterworld. I'll take it.
Can I pay $11 to watch Kevin Costner drink his own urine? Yummy, yummy. Thank you, Dana Carvey.
Oh dear, what a... Hey, listeners, you go back and try to figure out how many comedy specials we referenced in this episode. I think it was at least 3.
What's the third one? I remembered about Dave Chappelle.
Jiminy Glick.
Oh yeah, well that
I
wasn't
guess
a
that was
special.
a series.
Character,
Yeah. Still, anyway.
You go really high than
This has been episode 337
That's pretty good.
of A Star to Steer Her By. Join us next week for The Crossing and Judgment.
Great titles.
So, follow us on Facebook and SoundCloud and Tumblr, where you will see this most recent blogtivity and past blogtivities. Is there anything about Worf we missed? Because he's got a lot. You know, did you think that there was one that should have made our list instead?
We didn't mention that he agreed to tuck Wesley in every night, and that should go on the bad list.
Shit, this was my bad list thing. He refused to tell Spot that he was a good cat and a pretty
Son of a
cat.
But he did
Worf.
feed him.
I don't give a shit. You tell that cat he's good and pretty. That was one of the things I thought of that I was going to try to remember to say, and then I completely fucking forgot.
You got it now. It's on the list now.
Oh, thank God.
So, yeah.
Underline it and bold it, Ames.
So, yeah,
it is
we-
the greatest.
And, you know, so next week, the 2 new episodes and a new blog. We've moved on to DS9. Who are we talking about next week?
Cisco.
Cisco! Oh, dear.
Well,
Yeah.
there's something about war crimes we might need to discuss.
My list is so long. I'll read all of them. I'll do it.
I
I'm
was
almost
just-
at 30 now.
Depending on how
just
bad
saying
next
that-
week's episodes are, maybe we'll just talk about each one for 5 minutes and then just talk Cisco for an
Dude,
hour.
talking
He's
about-
so loud right now.
It would be awesome.
I
to,
laughed.
It would be awesome to talk Cisco just in general,
Fair.
like as a thing.
Fair. Anyway, this has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
And this is always Jake.
Do join us next week.
That one didn't
That wasn't
work.
right at all. That was that
Fuck it.
weird...
Try again.
Remember, you have to go very high and then very low.
Good enough. Good night.